Integrity, you have to be professional in what you are doing and be innovative, teamwork and networking, transparency and accountability. And those are the values that guide the board. What have we achieved during this journey as an assessment board? When you look at in terms of numbers, how many people have assessed? When we were beginning, first of all, remember that technical vocational education was not as popular as it is now. We started with about 9,000 candidates. That was in 2011. But as I speak now, we are dealing with about 80,000 candidates. But even among these, we see growth. At first, the female candidature was very small, but this has also grown over time, over this journey. And when you look at how many students have we qualified so far, for the last 10 years, during this long journey of 10 years, we have qualified 104,804 graduates, those that have gone into the field. And on gender, 23,000 they are female, and about 81,000 they are males. And these are both artisans and technicians working across the board, across the globe. We have also, over time, integrated a lot of ICT in our work. Since 2017, most of our work is done nicely. The way we deal with our stakeholders, the way we handle examination management, it is all on ICT. We're just feeling short of doing a computer examination, but we're working towards that one. So that in the future, even when there is a case like COVID, we're able to conduct our examination without interference. So we have a robust examination information management system. There is no reason why somebody should move from Nyakatai Technical Institute to come to Kampala to register students, or to get the results, or to submit a coursework, or to make any inquiry. All that is now done online, and also reply online. When we started, we had very few institutions, but as I speak, we have 592 institutions which train our people we assess, and these are both government and private. And actually the private outpace the government institutions. So we have really increased in a number of training institutions. And from 2017, with the guidance from Ministry of Education, all assessment other than the university degrees, diploma, certificates, lower levels, they are all conducted by the Uganda Business and Technical Examinations Board. Of recent, we have also rolled out the modularized assessment syllabi. And the reason for this is that we are following the broader government policy direction as enshrined in the National Enrollment Plan, page 186, that we should make these programs modular. The government manifesto, page 206, and TVET policy. And these ones also are in fulfillment of the general reforms in technical vocational education and training, which started in 2008. And now it has been climaxed by the passing of the TVET policy by the cabinet in 2019. Now we have a real direction of how we are implementing these reforms. Staff capacity, we are now moving with almost 100 members of staff, very professional staff, very hard-working team. Corporate governance, we do really appreciate that one, and we tend to really include it in our day-to-day working the institution. World of worker linkages. Now, one of the reforms in the TVET subsector, we are saying that at the heart of training, at the heart of policy, at the heart of delivery, we should find the private sector, the industry involved. Because you would see, somebody would say, but you see, you are producing the graduates who are not in tandem with what is required in the world of work. So what this reform did was that this is going to be training led by industry. And in that one, as of course as the board, the way we can work with private sector, we have entered into several memorandum of understanding with very several, about 10, the Uganda Manufacturers Association, National Water and Sewage Corporation, Uganda Electricity Regulatory Board. We have chambers of commerce. So that when in whatever we do, right away from all the examination process, we make sure that the practitioners, those who are involved in the real work, they're also involved. If you are setting a question, the person who's in the field knows the skill they need, and they will always give you that this question can bring out the skill that is required in the field. So we have worked on that one, make sure that the private sector is involved. We have also had the global membership. We are members of International Vocational Education and Training Association. We are members of Association for Education Assessment in Africa and East Africa Education Assessment Organization. And over this journey, I want to tell you that for the last 10 years, we have conducted very many examination sessions. But one important thing that we have never had a leakage of examinations. But also we are lucky that at this level of training, because much of the examination, the questions are situational based. Therefore, I will not find people, even if you go to the question anyway, if you have never done something practically in a lab or in a workshop, still you will have an issue of answering those questions. But we have never had any leakage of examinations. Now, the most recent is that when we started this board, we did not have a home. We have been renting all over Ntinda, Ministers Village and the rest. But the greatest achievement we have now is that we have embarked on the construction of what is called Uganda Business and Technical Examination Board Assessment Center at Chambogo here. The Ministry of Education and Sports allocated us land. We have gone through all the processes. Government has allocated the funding, and we have started construction of our home. And this is going to be really a great achievement for the board. We hope on the 23rd, when we are climaxing the celebrations of 10 years, the President of the Republic of Uganda would launch the groundbreaking of this assessment center, which will host several workshops, laboratories, testing centers, and of course, our offices. You can't do all the success without challenges. We have had our own challenges. Of course, at the beginning, as a beginning organization, one is that competence-based assessment, which we do, is very expensive for us as the board, but at the same time for training institutions. And this has been really challenging. The moment you want to increase practical assessment, it comes with a very big cost, and sometimes the institutions cannot afford. Neither do we also afford it, because it means we have also to make sure that we are always on the ground. We need a lot of manpower to do that. But we also, so sometimes we have to, how do you handle this assessment at lower cost without compromising quality? And that's how we've been operating. But if really we were to go competence-based assessment, then it would require increased financing for training institutions. Because in practical terms, people must buy materials. If somebody say that as your final test, practical test, want you to make a door, they must buy materials for the door. If you are to make a table, a chair like this, they must buy materials. And these materials, sometimes because of funding issues, they are not easily accessible. Of course, we had also challenge of COVID. It came very abruptly, but we discovered that actually you can't deliver technical vocational training on computer like how it was with other training institutions. But I think we are, all of us, policy training institutions and assessment, we must build this capacity over time to ensure that in the case in the future there is another problem, we should not have interrupted the training. It really hit us because they closed the schools, we closed the institutions. So we are now trying to patch up with training institutions and candidates to ensure that we go back on the same pace. What are our future plans? As an organization. In this journey now, we are going to start after the 10th, the 23rd of November, following the broader government policy, the National Development Plan 3, the government manifesto, TVET policy. We want to embark on rolling out modularized assessment syllabi for all academic programs. This modularized assessment is aimed at like two things. That when you modularize, that you tend to package the assessment in such a manner that an individual comes into an institution, does one module, and is a complete technician, is a complete artisan. And he has enough skills, she has enough skills which you can employ and have your living. And we are saying that when you have this module and you have finished it and you can go and work, at your convenient time, you come back and do another module. Then when you do the several modules in a program, we give you the final award of a certificate. But with this module system, we give you a certificate of that this person can do ABCD. And we are now working along with training institutions on that one, but we want to roll it over from the lower levels, which are based in skills development centers, to technical institutes, to even the diploma awarding institutions. But it achieves two things: that you get very many people coming in because it reduces on cost, therefore access is increased. That is one area of access is increased. But also, and most important, that when you do this, then there is flexible in learning. There is flexibility. There is flexibility in learning. That somebody that will quickly. And there are very many unskilled Ugandans who would want to come to this training and be skilled. But because of cost and time, if you tell someone to come for a certificate program for 2 years, it is not easy. Somebody is married, he has children, yes. But if you make it shorter, so these modules are shorter, within 6 months we assess you, within 6 months we assess you, and when you are ready, you come and we assess, so long as you fall within the assessment period. That's what we want to do, concentrate on in the coming years. Of course, we're also looking at automation of all operations. And we are not major, we are focusing on, as I indicated, that challenge which came in and we could not, that challenge which came in with COVID and we could not move on. But hope this automation will do that. So my call to Ugandans is that in line with the National Development Plan 3, we need to galvanize our efforts towards skills development. And as a board, we are committed to renew our pledge, streamline TVET assessment in Uganda, and the future of Uganda's industrial growth and development is TVET. TVET is a game changer. The technical vocational education is the game changer where we are going. People are interested in skills, not what you did, not what you know, what. Finally, allow me to thank the government of Uganda for having really worked closely with us, mostly through the Ministry of Education. They have really worked closely. There was no beginning an organization to this level, but we are really talented by all the permanent secretaries that have gone through the Ministry of Education. We are talented by the ministers, and they have been on our side, and that's how we have managed to move on. I want also to thank UBC. I usually like watching your programs, because for you, at least it's not about money, it's about what do you show the public can to contribute to the building of this country. I want to thank all what I call our strategic partners. When we are carrying out our activity, the private sector, the practitioners, those who are based in industries, they leave their offices, they leave their factory to come and train with us, to come and give us guidance on how we can get skills out of these people, how we can ensure that the people we produce go with requisite skills, which the whole training aims at you can get employment, but at the same time, we emphasize that you can employ yourself. And that's why sometimes we have supporting subjects. On top of technical, on top of skill, but we have supporting subjects like entrepreneurship, like communication, because once you are armed with the skills and you have the skills in communication and entrepreneurship, you can at any one time enterprise your skill, you can make it an enterprise. And that's one we emphasize it in our assessment, and I'm sure even in the delivery it is emphasized. Even all the policy guidelines are towards guide us towards that. Dear viewers, as I conclude, there is certain information which I would like to give. And I want to tell you that when you finish P7, when your child finishes P7, there are two options. You can go to senior one, but they also go to a skills development center to do the course, which leads that person to get a qualification. From there, this person can go and go to a technical institution and do another course for 2 years. The other one is 3 years currently, which is also under reform. Then you do the 2 years. Now, the 2 years, the one who finished P7 meets with the one who finished senior 4, and they do the national certificate for 2 years. After that, the person goes and works at the will. They will come back and do a diploma. So eventually, after the diploma, they can go to the university. And you get a perfect engineer with all the skills. And you can build right up from the small building up to the biggest building. And those even who finish senior 4, they're encouraged. Instead of senior 5, they also go to technical institutes for national diplomas. And you are skilled. You start working, then employ yourself or get employment. Then you can go for further studies. This question of selling goats, cows, land is that you're educating a person and he comes back to sit with you and there is no what? There is no production. And I would like to thank UBC once again for UBC TV for hosting me and also showcase the UBTF journey for the last 10 years. I would like also to encourage the public also to this program, as it really gives a chance to organizations to elaborate on the journeys they have gone through, and which is important for the public. As I sign out, I remain CPA Oyesi Jonesmas, and I say all this for God and my country.
Also have enough air.
It is intellectually engaging.
And you can only become a leader when there are problems.
I like that.
The same applies to Rwanda, Burundi. So what are we federating?
Whether rats from another country can be, I mean, somebody must be there to hold everybody accountable.
But